Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today we're checking out a dash cam. So this is a 3-channel dash cam that they've actually sent. So it does have the main unit, which has, by the looks of it, front and rear facing cameras, and then you do have a additional rear camera for the back window if you wanted to install that as well. Alongside that, we do also receive the hardwire kit, and then it looks like we're getting some sort of either an ND filter or CPL filter, yeah. So you can use that if you choose to do so. Now, one thing on this particular camera, I did already check the specs with the manufacturer or the company that actually sent it out to me, and this, unlike a lot of dash cams, does actually support 4K 60, but it's only with the main unit. So if you do attach the rear camera, then because that doesn't support 60 FPS, the frame rate will drop, but otherwise you will be able to get 4K 60 out of the main unit, which is, for me, frame rate is more important than the resolution to some extent. Now, this particular camera does also support true 4K, and it does also have HDR recording as well. The manufacturer is also very proud to point out that this does use the Sony Starvis 2 sensor, and that obviously works towards giving better picture, better HDR control, as well as a load of other features in the detail and the clarity of the actual image itself. This particular one does say it has smart parking mode as well. I'm guessing that's going to need either some sort of additional battery or something, or rely on the hardwire kit in order to stay powered up. It does have built-in GPS, and that will obviously work towards giving you your speed when you're actually driving, and it does say it's 4G compatible, so if you do want to connect a SIM you probably can do, as well as Wi-Fi 6. Okay, so on the top, I'm guessing, is all of your paperwork. Yep. And included in there is a 512GB micro SD card. What else do we get? We get the normal alignment stickers for actually attaching it to your windscreen. Then you also get some 3M tape and a few extra spares in there. So depending on how you want to actually mount this, I'm guessing this is going to be a spare, because you'll probably have one already attached to the actual unit itself. You've got all of these. These are normally, so you stick these to your windscreen and then you stick your camera to this. So then if you do want to actually remove it, it makes it a bit easier. Well, you get a load of paperwork as well as the user manual just there. Okay, so here is your cabling. So you have quite a long, chunky USB-C cable, and you do have a right angle connector just there, as well as the normal connection. You have the mount. As I said, you already have the 3M tape on there. You do have an additional USB-A to USB-C cable as well. And then this is going to be your dual connection cigarette lighter socket or 12-volt socket. Okay, and then you also get a trim tool in there as well to help you set this up. Alongside that, you obviously get the rear camera, and it's actually nice to see that this is just USB-C and not some sort of proprietary plug or mini USB, because it just makes it a lot easier to actually power this up. This one rotates 360, and you do have a little cover on the actual lens itself. The rear camera is also 4K by the looks of it as well, but it's just the frame rate that isn't 4K 60. And then coming on to the main unit, so this is quite a bulky unit. Got a lot of heft to it. So on here, what do we have here? So this is your cabin facing camera, and then on the back of it or the front of it, depending on how you're looking at it, this is where you have your main sensor. You have a nice big screen just there, as well as some function buttons along there. On the left hand side is where you have your micro SD slot, and then you have your power button as well as microphone. On top you have some venting. On the top you also have DC in as well as AV in. So your AV in, I'm guessing, is going to be from your rear camera into this, so even that is USB-C connection. And on the right hand side you just have some venting just there, a little bit of branding on the front just there. And this one doesn't rotate too much, so it's only a tilt, so this will obviously mount like that. So you click it in sideways and it will be mounted to the actual windscreen itself, and then this one just tilts up and down depending on the tilt of your actual windscreen itself. Okay, so to get the mount on and off, you're basically pushing it down. So once you've got this installed on your windscreen, you locate it and then you push this down, and that's what clips it in. Okay, so that's everything that was in the box. Obviously this is going to be pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so there we have the CPL lens, and let's just test to see if this is magnetic. No, it's not. Okay, so by the looks of it, it just pushes on, and the actual camera does have some tilt to it as well. So depending on once it's mounted, you do have a little bit of variation just there as well. And then this, by the looks of it, you just push on and it looks like it will stay there. You do obviously have some rotation on it, so depending on where the actual filtration is that you need, it will then affect it. So you can see those two lines just there, and obviously you can rotate this to affect the actual image itself. Okay, and finally the wiring kit. So that is everything. So you get some paperwork as well as a SIM tool by the looks of it. You also get a USB-C to USB-C cable, once again right angled. This one's not as long, and it says on there only for 4G kit. And inside here it looks like you have an antenna. Okay, so this is for your 4G setup. So you have a hard wiring setup here, so power, permanent live and switch live. You then have your USB connection that goes into there, and this will then go to the camera presumably, and then you have your SIM card slot just there, and then this presumably you would stick somewhere, and then guessing the button is to be able to switch. Okay, so that is everything that's included. So you do get the memory card, you get a USB-A to USB-C cable, you get the main camera unit as well as the rear camera unit, you get your 12-volt power plug, you have your mount, you have your SIM setup for your 4G connection, you get an extra USB-C to USB-C cable with that, and you get the main USB-C to USB-C cable. This looks quite long, so I'm guessing this is probably like over 5 meters. It's a nice long cable to help you hide everything away, and then you do get a trim tool as well. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the test footage. So as you can see, this is the front facing camera, and one thing, because I've already viewed everything back, the one thing I will note is the front facing camera is a lot sharper. So you see all the details a lot clearer in comparison to the rear camera. What I did do with my setup was, rather than mounting the rear camera in the back, I mounted in the front. So you can do a direct comparison between the quality and the clarity of the front and the rear facing cameras. So as you can see, the rear camera is basically capturing the exact same scene. I've tried to sync up as best as I can. It's not going to be exact, but it's close enough. So as you can see, this is still a pretty decent picture. So this is still a 4K 30 image. The only difference being is you should be able to notice that there's a lot less of this sharpness. Now, I don't know whether that's post sharpening that's going on or whether that's just from the actual sensor itself. But this is definitely a little bit softer. I'd say this is a little bit more natural. The angle is slightly different because of where it's mounted. But yeah, it's not quite exactly the same, and you can see in the side by side where we're getting almost the exact same shot. Now don't worry too much in terms of the perspective, because they're not mounted right next to each other, one's above the other, and also the reflection that you're getting in the bottom left of the front facing camera, that's just as a result of the shape of my windscreen. So you can fix all these by how you mount it, but you should be able to notice that the front facing camera is definitely a lot sharper than the rear facing camera, but the rear is still pretty good. Okay, now coming on to some nighttime footage. Now, one thing you'll notice is the flares from all the lights. Now, I believe the reason this happened was, at this point I only just started the car, so the whole car was quite cold, and for some reason the front facing camera suffers more with this sort of fogging or misting than the rear facing camera does, and I'm guessing that's because there's a lot more metal in the construction as opposed to the rear one, which is plastic, so it won't have that same issue with the heat. As you can see, this is now the rear camera, and it actually looks better than the front facing camera. It's not as sharp, and for some reason it's brighter as well. I'm not sure what's going on with that, whether that's been boosted in post once again, not by me, but in terms of the processing done by the actual unit. But the rear camera does seem to be brighter. Whether or not that's definitely a good thing, you can see for yourself. But once again, the angle, things like that, don't worry too much about that. That's just where they actually mounted. And this is the side by side. So as you can see, the front and the rear, the front is definitely a lot darker, but in theory, once that actually defogs and demists, you can actually get a clearer image. Now, there is also a setting that you can turn on to get rid of that, but it did also state to only use that when you need to. So I think that's something that would actually change the processing of the image rather than just fixing or heating up the camera. And finally, some of the inside the cabin camera footage. So I have blurred myself out because I wasn't looking the best on this day, but yeah, you can see this is during the day. It's got a really wide angle lens, and you're going to be able to capture everything inside. I'm not 100% sure why we need these cameras, whether or not it's for insurance or something, but yeah. Now switching to the night shot, you can see once again it's pretty clear. It will capture everything inside, and yeah, if you angle it slightly better, which I did do later, but not for these clips, then you'll be able to capture everything inside and obviously make sure that you can prove to insurance that you weren't at fault. Okay, so just coming back to the main front-facing camera for a second. So obviously one of the biggest points that I made at the start was regarding the 4K 60. Now the flip side of that, and one of the settings for the camera quality and camera settings, is rather than 4K 60, you can choose to use 4K 30 with HDR. And you can see in this shot here where you do actually benefit from that, and why a lot of people do tend to use the HDR setting as opposed to the 4K 60 setting. And that is because you're able to, in these kind of conditions where you've got bright sun, you're able to capture a lot more detail in terms of dynamic range, as opposed to just sticking to 4K 60, having a clearer image but maybe having the highlights blown out in a lot of instances. That's where the Sony Starvis 2 sensor alongside their HDR processing does come into effect. Okay, and as this video was mainly about the actual video quality as opposed to showing all of the other features of the actual dashcam setup, I will just quickly touch on a few of the other things that were included with the pack. So it did come with the 4G kit, and you can also purchase an additional battery pack as well. Combined, both of these enable you to use both parking mode, so it will record similar to what Teslas do. So anytime it detects any type of motion or any sort of movement or shock, then it will record a clip of all the cameras that are there. So obviously the front facing, cabin and the rear facing camera. But then alongside the 4G kit, it means that no matter where you are, if you did have a SIM card installed, then you could actually access the cameras remotely as well. So that's the purpose of the 4G kit. It's not only when you're out and about, it's also for if you parked it in a car park or something and you just wanted to check up on the actual car itself. Obviously that is where I think more so that interior camera does come into effect. If you're away on holiday and somebody tells you that your car's been broken into, obviously you can retrieve that footage that way. The one issue that I did have with this was when connecting via the app, it doesn't play well if you use Apple CarPlay. So because Apple CarPlay uses Wi-Fi and this unit also uses Wi-Fi in order to connect, as soon as you connect to try and download footage, it'll basically switch to Apple CarPlay and it just doesn't play well. So that's something that you would probably need to disconnect from Apple CarPlay, but that's obviously one of those things where it's not down to the unit itself per se, it's just a glitch in how cars have so many different things that you connect into Wi-Fi these days that it can cause an issue. Another little point to note is you can enable and disable both time, speed and GPS location. I disabled the GPS location on mine. I left the speed on just to see how accurate it was, just going by the speedo as opposed to your true GPS speed, but it's there. So then obviously if in the event where somebody claims you're doing 20-30 miles per hour faster than the speed limit, you can prove that you weren't. Yeah, overall the unit itself worked perfectly fine. It's just, for me, the only issue I really had with the unit was that issue with the CarPlay, but that, as I said, it's not down to the unit itself, it's more just a clash in how many different things use Wi-Fi on your phone these days. Now alongside this video, I am also reviewing 3 other dash cams from them, so please stay tuned for that video. If you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on that video and any future videos, and I really appreciate if you can also give this video a thumbs up as well. And until the next one, thanks very much for watching.